I have to say that I love spend my free time by playing some mobile games, and recently I have been playing so much Clash Royale. And talking about Clash Royale, I will teach you today how to sculpt the Clash Royale crown in Zbrush. Wow! If you are now ready to start, grab your 3D tools, let's dive into 3D modeling. Hey, hello everyone, welcome to the tutorial video where I'm going to explain you how to do the Clash Royale crown in Zbrush, okay? So, let's get started. Before I get started, let me say I hope you have at least a little bit knowledge about Zbrush. If you don't have, it can be a little bit more hard for you. I will try to explain each tool we are going to use here. If you have a little bit previous knowledge about Zbrush, then it's going to be super easy for you. Alright, let's get started. The first thing you're gonna do, here on the Zbrush interface, you will come here on the right and click in this big S here. And then you're gonna select this Polymesh 3D. You're gonna click here and then click and drag in this screen, hold Shift. I like to hold Shift to make it really straight. After this, the only thing you're gonna do is hit T. And now you can move around your object over this scene. You can see that my star here is white. Yours probably gonna be red. If you wanted this to be exactly what I have here, you just come to this window here. This window is the material window. You're gonna click, and I have selected here this skin shade full. So you just click here, and then you can have the same white star I have here. Let's go. For making the crown, we need a cylinder. And then you must be asking yourself, why do we have a star in this screen then? Well, it's because this star gives us an option to primitives. And what is primitives? Let's go. Hit W, and then you're going to have this in the middle, which is what we call gizmo. And then you have these options on the top. Here on the left top, you have this engine. You're going to click here, and then it's going to pop up these many options here. And here on the top, you have primitives. It's a lot of basic shapes that we can select to start sculpting on them. And the one we're going to select is this cylinder 3D, so then you just click here. Perfect, now we have a cylinder. So we need to see the lines and the vertices and the faces of this cylinder. So the only thing that we're going to do now is go here on the left bottom, and then you have this option Poly F, or you can press Shift F. You're gonna see that I will use a lot of shortcuts. I will explain all the shortcuts I'm doing and make sure that you will write them down so you will not forget. Now that we can see the lines and the vertices and the faces, you're going to realize that we have this green and red triangles here and this white one. If you move around, you can see like a better. So this is a different gizmo, and what it does primarily is if you click, hold and drag, you can insert or remove some edges. Yes, that's really cool. And for making the crown, we will need here on this red triangle, which is the H divisions. You can see here on the bottom, it will appear right here that we have 19. We are putting here 20, exactly 20. If you move a little bit to the side, we have the green one, which you can add also. And then we don't need actually nothing here. Let's put 0. We will need more, but we will add manually later. And we don't need this at all, but just for curiosity, we have this white one in the middle, which we can make a hole on our geometry. We could use this option here, but I think it will be easier for us to not have this hole here yet. Okay, let's just work with the primarily shape. So just leave this on 0. All right, let's put our object by the side view. And if you hold Shift, you can actually lock the view, like side, front, the other side. You can just hold Shift and then you can lock it. And by locking on any of the sides, you're going to hit W, and then we have the gizmo back. And then in this white circle, we can hold Shift, click and drag it, and then you will see that we can rotate this object in 5 to 5 degrees, and let's rotate it 90 degrees. All right. Next thing we're going to do is hold Alt, click in this little arrow icon here, so we will reset the gizmo. So we have the perfect orientation of the gizmo back to where we need. So let's lock our view in the front. Here I am in the front of the object. And then let's use a brush called Z-Modeler. To access this brush, the only thing you need to do is press B, then Z. And here on the bottom, we have here on the left, Z-Modeler. This is a super powerful brush. We can do a lot of stuff with this. Now leave the mouse here over the face. Watch out, not the vertex, not the line, but the face. Leave the mouse over the face, hold space. Then we have a lot of options here. We're going to select this polygroup. And then in these bottom options, instead of a single poly, we're going to select polyloop. Now you can leave the spacebar. By putting the mouse here over the face, you're going to realize that we have this yellow line. And if you move it a little bit around this face, you can see that the yellow line direction is changing. Let's put in a way that it goes a little bit like to this side. And then you just click. Nice. What we have done, we made this new polygroup. And then we have here blue and here red. Probably yours going to be a different color, but you will have two different colors there also. And then now what we are going to do is hold Ctrl and Shift. Let's click here on in the face. In this color, mine is blue, yours can be another one. Just click here holding Ctrl and Shift. If it's happening with you exactly what's happening with me, like yeah, this is what it should happen. You should be able to see just the blue color. If it doesn't happen with you, you can just try to click on the top color, and then you still holding Ctrl and Shift, click and drag outside. You're gonna make this square here, and then you just release the mouse, and then it inverts the selection. Really good. Now we need to delete that red one. We don't need that anymore. For doing that, we come here on the side on geometry. You click here. Over these options, we have this one, modify topology. And then here you have del hidden, delete hidden. So you just click here, and doesn't matter what I do, I cannot bring that piece back anymore because we have deleted this. It doesn't exist anymore. Great, now that we have just the blue selected, the only thing I'm going to do, I will, here on the bottom, you can do the same thing as I'm doing. Here in display properties, you just click here and then double, okay? Then you can see the entire object. If you don't have this activated, you don't see properly the entire object. So just enable this option here, and then we are good to go. Let's lock the geometry here in the front view, okay? I'm holding Shift. And then still with the Z-Modeler brush, now instead of leaving the mouse over a face, you're going to leave it over a line, over an edge. Hold space, and we make sure that it's selected here, insert, and instead of multiple edge loops, you put single edge loop. Then you're gonna click and hold, and then you can move around. We are adding one more line here. Let's add one more line, more or less in the middle, okay? We are changing this later, but for now it just need to be there somehow. Now we will need to use the polygroup option that we have used before. So you know how to access this, right? Just leave in the face, hold space, make sure it's in polygroup, and then polyloop. And then here you're gonna try to put here a little bit on the side, and then click. If you click and it doesn't make any different color, still holding the click, you just press Alt. This is a different color. I can see it's a different color, but I will press again so it can be better to see. Okay, pink. Now I can release the mouse click. Nice. So we have two different polygroups. We can select each one individually now, but we are not in this option yet. What we need to do, we need to do the top of the crown. So this will be the bottom and this will be the top. For making the top, we need to polygroup some of these squares, but not all of them. I will leave the mouse here in the face, hold space, and now, still in the polygroup, instead of selecting polyloop, you're going to select a single poly. So, there are some faces that we need to select here, and then we're going to jump, and then we need to select these ones also. But there are a lot of squares that we need to click here, so let's try to save time. I will teach you one really cool feature on ZBrush. So, if you hit X, you activate symmetry, which means anything you do in this side, it's going to be repeated to the other side. So if I go here in the middle and polygroup this face, you see it repeated on the other side. If I do here, it repeated on the other side. Isn't this cool? This is really awesome. We can save a lot of time with this. So let's lock it in the front face. Let's do like this. 1, 2. Let me Control Z. Undo here. 1, 2, and then 1, 2. The next 1, 2, we're going to polygroup. Okay, so let's count again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. You see? Nice. Now that we have done this, we're gonna hold Ctrl and Shift, click on the polygroup color that you have created, and then you realize that the other color just disappeared. And then again, Geometry, Modify Topology, and del Hidden. So now we have a really good base shape for our crown. This is really great. But we have to change it a little bit still. First thing we are going to do, you're going to hold Ctrl and Alt, and you're going to click and drag to select all these bottom options here, okay? I'm selecting all this space. This one is not selected. If I hit W and bring the gizmo back, everything gonna move, but on the top. It's because this is masked and this bottom part isn't. This is really good for us because now we can do changes in some specific regions without touching other regions. What I'm going to do, I will, here in this gizmo, you have this yellow square in the middle. Watch out to not hit the blue, the green, or the lines, anything here, just the yellow color. And then if you click, hold, and drag, you can see that you can scale our object. But before doing this, I will hold Alt and click in this icon that it's like a map pin or something like this. Just click here. You saw that it went to the side. It's because the symmetry is activated. I will hit X, that's turn off the symmetry, and again hold Alt and click in this pin here. Now, on the yellow square, we can scale. Let's scale it down a little bit like this. Nice. Hit Q, and then holding Ctrl, click and drag outside, so it will remove our selection. Now let's hold Ctrl and Alt, select just the bottom ones, hit W, hold Alt, click in this icon, and it will center where we have masked. And again, in the yellow box, let's scale it down a little bit. Scale it down like not that much, maybe to make this line straight. Q, hold Ctrl, click and drag outside, remove the mask. Now let's do one thing. Let's select just the middle one, hit W, and here on the arrow, let's move it up a little bit. Not that much, just a little bit. Okay, great. Q, hold Ctrl, click and drag outside, remove our selection. Okay, this is looking pretty good till now. Let's do one more thing here. All right, now we need to change a little bit the design of this. We still need to do some changes here to make sure that when we start to put more thickness around this object, it will look super awesome. One more thing that I am going to do here, I need to select all these bottom parts here of the other sides without selecting these lines here. And I don't want to select manually all of these parts here. So what I'm going to do, I will here in Transform, there is this option Activate Symmetry, which is the X option that we have hit before. When you hit X, this is what you are turning on and off. So we are going to activate the symmetry. And then here we have this R. R means radial. You can have symmetry by a radial axis. So let's turn on this option. And here, instead of 8, let's put 5. Okay, great. And instead of X, let's put, I think it's Y. And I will deactivate the X. So let's see. Okay, great. If you put now your mouse over a vertex or a line, you're going to see that it is repeating all around the other corners. So whatever we do here, if we move here, you see it's moving in all the other radial axes. This is really handy, really useful for us. So what we are going to do Now, instead of leaving in the face or in the edge, let's leave the mouse here in this vertex, and then you hold spacebar. And then instead of move, you're gonna select slide and by brush radius. Okay, so we can slide this vertex. But before we doing this, we're going to change the size of this brush. You can hit S on your keyboard, or here on the top you have this draw size. You can just make it really small. I am leaving mine here around 10. So click and hold and then drag to the side. Then on the other side, click and hold and drag to the other side. So let's try to make this line here and this line here kind of similar. Okay, I think this quantity that we have done is pretty good for now. You don't need to change to fix the topology and the line. You don't need to fix this bottom part. This will be enough for us. Next thing we're going to do, leave the mouse in a face, hold spacebar, Q mesh, and polygroup all. So you just click and drag, and you can extrude all the faces. Let's make it really thick, like this. Can you see? Nice. This looks really cool. Okay, nice. Let's keep moving with this. Now leave it in the edge, hold spacebar, and then instead of insert, we're going to select the bevel and edge loop complete. Then you click, hold, and drag. Let's do a bevel more or less like, not that big actually. Let's do maybe this. This is really great. You can see that these little corners, they are not working really well. So again, still in the vertex, we still have the slide option in the vertex option. Let's slide it a little bit in a way that it looks pretty good. And then we have the axis, radial axis symmetry activated. So we don't need to do in all the sides. It automatically repeats for us. The only thing I'm going to do, I will make this line here a little bit more straight. Maybe move this one a little bit more. All right, great. Now we need to bevel this internal part also. And then by doing this, I will still go again on the edges, but instead of click and drag, I will just click. And it will repeat the exactly same amount that we have done last time. And again, I have to fix a little bit the vertexes here, not in the internal side. Let's move a little bit. I think this is really good. Doesn't need to be perfect, totally perfect. Nice. I think we have a good result here. Now we can turn off the polyframe and let's see. Wow, we have a really fun result here. So now let's move to the bottom part. For the bottom part, instead of try to make a cylinder and try to match the size of it, what I'm going to do, I can just duplicate the object that we have and then we can still use this object. For doing that, you just come here to Subtool. And then here we have this Subtool. This is a little bit like layers, but Zbrush calls it subtools. What we can do, we can hit here duplicate, but wait, watch out. Duplicate is right over delete. Make sure you are hitting duplicate and not delete, okay? So let's go duplicate. Now you can see that we have two objects here and we have selected the bottom one. So let's click in this option here solo so we can see just one subtool instead of everything that we have here. What we are going to do, let's shift F to bring the polyframe back. I will, here on the edges, I will change it to insert single edge loop. And here, more or less here, I will click and hold. I will add maybe, let's put a little bit in the middle of this space. Great. Now in the face, let's select polygroup and then polyloop, and then let's polygroup these side ones. Let's hold Ctrl Shift, click here. And then you can see if it happens with you, look, not only it selecting different polygroups together, but we have the same colors repeated over the geometry. If that happens with you, what you can do when you polygroup one face, you can still holding the mouse, you hit Alt, and then you change the color. We have done this before, right? So you know how to do this. Nice. So now again, hold Ctrl and Shift, click here. If something is still appearing other than the color that you have created, then you just hold Ctrl and Shift again and click on the color that you want to remove. And then you will just leave alone the color that you want. And then geometry and modify topology, del hidden. So now we have just this here. Masking this, let's hold Ctrl. You're gonna see that we have a different option here on the top left. Click here, and then we are using this option, Mask Pen. You're gonna change to Mask Lasso. The Mask Lasso is one option that instead of making boxes, you can select one specific place and drawing for exactly how I'm doing here. Ctrl and Alt, let's click and drag here, make a draw just on the bottom side. W, hold Alt, click in this icon so we can center it. And then I wanted this bottom part to be really straight. It seems to be a little bit jaggy. And for making it straight here on this axis, on this green box, you just click, hold, and drag it down. And then it's going to make everything extremely straight. And then you can move it down. Not that much. Hit Q, hold Ctrl, click and drag outside, and erase our selection. I will now select this top part. W will center this, and I will try to make it straight, exactly how we did on the bottom part. Q, click and drag, click and draw outside. Let's get out of the solo mode. Okay, great. Now I just see that we have moved too much to the bottom side. So let's select the bottom side again. Let's center the gizmo there. And then let's, by the arrow, move it up. I would say something like this. A little bit bigger than the space we have on the top. Here we have a bigger space on the bottom. Q, click and draw outside. Let's remove our selection. So what we can do here now, we're still with the Z modeler brush. On the face, let's change it to Q mesh, and again polygroup all. Let's add some thickness to this. I will add this thickness kind of big. You will understand why soon. Like this. And then here in the edge you can bevel, edge loop complete. Exactly what we have done here at the top. So instead of click and drag, you just click. And here on the bottom again. And I will do here again this internal part, okay? I will not do, let me go back to solo. I will not do here. We don't need this. All right, really great. Shift F, let's see everything. This looks really, really, really cool. I think that we have added too much thickness to this bottom part. So what we can do, bring back the gizmo, and then you don't need to mask anything. Just hold Alt and let's centralize in the geometry our gizmo. And then now we want to scale this a little bit inside, but we don't want to change the height of this object. So let's move a little bit here. Bring the gizmo, hold Alt, and then you click here and drag. And you can see that we can scale our object and it's going to ignore completely the axis that we are selecting. So I will just make it a little bit more close to the object, not that much, maybe like this. Let's see. Great. And then I will again select the bottom part and I will move it down a little bit. I will centralize the gizmo there and I will scale it down a little bit, not that much, just a little bit. Great. Let's clean our selection, Shift F, and let's have an overall look. This looks really awesome. I think this looks really good. So let's keep adding details. We still have some things that we need to add here. Here on the side options, over Subtool, we can hit this insert and we're going to again hit this Polymesh 3D. Let's click on the solo mode. So we are going to see just this mesh. Hit W, let's click here in the engine And this time we are going to select Cone 3D. All right, Shift F. And then exactly like you saw before, we still have this different gizmo where we can add or remove lines. Here on the green one, we are going to, let's add one, just one. And then here in this red one, let's add just 4. Let's leave just 4. It's all that we need. Nice. So looking by the side view and then lock it by the side view, you're gonna hold Ctrl and Alt, click and draw here just at the top, W, centralize the gizmo there by holding Alt and clicking here. Now with the arrow, let's move it in this line here. Let's move it like, let's try to make it as flat as possible. Now Q, remove selection. Now select here all this this front part again. W, center the gizmo. And here by the Z-axis, let's, on the scale, let's do like this. So we can flat everything that is here. Q, click and draw outside. Okay, maybe what we can do, we can select this again and like we can move this backwards a little bit. Okay, I think this looks really great for now. Let's make sure that you clean the selection. Let's get out of the solo mode. And you can see that our object is like not in the correct place. So let's bring the gizmo back. Centralize the gizmo. Let's move it to the front by moving here on the Z-axis. I will lock here on the side view and then I will move it down. Let's scale it down a little bit. And then we want this to be a little bit smaller than this area here. Let's move it closer. Scale it down a little bit. And now I will hold Shift and click on this white circle and let's flip it like 5 degrees, just 5 degrees. Let's try to put this more or less in the middle. You can see that it's not totally straight here, this this line. I will select this object again by holding Alt, and then you can click in these objects. You see, you can and then you can click here in the subtools, but you can also just hold Alt and click in these objects in the scene. And by this one selected, let's select the bottom part. Let's move the gizmo there, center the gizmo, and then I will scale down in a way that it will match the line here. You see here, I think here is okay. Remove selection. Let's go back to this object. Hit W. Let's make it touch the other object. Nice. I will now move a little bit around. Let's do like this. Move your object till it get a little bit inside the other object. This is really good. Now press Q and also press X to activate the symmetry. But now let's go here to the transform and let's make sure that this is X and the R is not activated or any one of these options. Now the symmetry activated, hold Ctrl and Alt, select this option here. W, we don't need to change the gizmo now. Let's just by the blue arrow move it to this axis and let's try to put it inside the other mesh again. Q, let's draw outside to remove selection, and really good, really nice. Now let's bevel these edges. Let's do this here on the edge. Let's see, it's in bevel still. Let's click. Okay, I think this is too big, so we have to do this manually. Let's do like really thin, doesn't need to be that big, okay? Let's do here on the front, then here on the side, then here on the top. Let's see what we have. Look at this. This is looking so good. The only thing that I'm going to do now is by hitting W, I will remove the symmetry by hitting X. Let's center the gizmo. And here on the Z scale, I will scale it more flat. And I now will put it inside the crown a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Nice. I think this is looking really good. So now we need to mirror this object to the other side and then to the sides. And then you must be asking yourself, no way that I need to model everything again. Exactly. You see, you are getting really smart in Zbrush. You don't need to model everything again. Let's flip this object to the other directions. So what we can do here on the side options, we have geometry. And then you have modify topology and mirror and weld. Here in this section of mirror and weld, you're gonna see right here in the corner, you have this X, Y, and Z. They are so tiny. What we are going to do, we are selecting the Z option and unselecting X. So now you can hit mirror and weld. And then you're gonna see that it is mirroring to the other side. Now we need to do here and here. But instead of clicking in these options, I will go here to subdue, and then let's have selected here our pins. You can hold Shift F to make sure that they are selected. And then let's duplicate this object. Let's bring the gizmo back, and then center the gizmo by hitting Alt and clicking here. And then let's lock on the bottom view, bring the gizmo back. And then you can see that the gizmo is a little bit flipped. So to fix this, you just still holding Alt, you're clicking this arrow. So it will recenter the orientation of the gizmo. And now holding Shift, let's click in this white round line. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. Now, look what we have, guys. Look what we have. You have done the crown. This is the crown. That's it. So let's make it beautiful and let's apply colors to it. So the first thing we're going to do here on this top part, let's hold Alt and click here. You can see that we have different colors. That means that we have different polygroups. Here into geometry, you have an option called crease. Then you can click here in crease. Holding Shift, you click on dynamic subdiv. Then we can have both options open so we can modify both things. If you hit D, you're gonna pop up this message and then you just click always yes. And you can see that it's going to smooth our geometry. Here we have a smooth subdiv. You can put it to 3 and it's going to smooth more, 4, and then it's going to smooth more. I will put this on 4. I think 4 is really good. And then here in crease options, we can put crease PG. PG means polygroup, and crease means that you are making edges hard. Okay, so if I click crease PG, it will hard the edges that we have done. And then on the crease level, let's leave it to maybe 3. 3, I think it's a good number. And then you can see that we kind of lost the shape of squarish shape that we need for the crown. If you hit now Shift D, you can go back to the subdivision. Not go back, that is a fake subdivision, not a real one. That is just for you to see how it's going to look if you would apply subdivisions to your mesh. So D and Shift D. But you can see that we have lost the squarish shapes on the top. So what we can do, let's go back here and Shift F. Let's bring our polyframe visibility on. And still with the Z modeler, let's leave in the edge, hold space, and then we're going to click here, crease and edge, okay? This is a more generic creasing. You can crease the edges here, but they are more generic. With this option here in Z modeler brush, we can be more precise. We can like crease one specific edge if we want. And that's exactly what we want to do. And you can see that the symmetry on the radial symmetry is activated. And that's really good. So what we are going to do, let me see, where's the front? Here's the front. Nice. I will start by here. I will crease, let's see, I will crease this one, and this one. Here on the top, I will crease this one, and this one. Here we'll do the same on this side, this one, and this one. You can see that it is creased by this extra lines that you have around the edge, you see. And then finally this one, and this one. Now you can press F so it will zoom out. You can press F again, so it will zoom out to see all the objects you have in your scene. Let's get out of the polyframe. And now if you hit D, you see it is subdivided, but the hard edges that we have selected, it will still be hard. And you can control it, the amount of hardness, by increasing or decreasing the crease level. I will put the subdivision in 5, and I will leave this here, let me see, 4. I will put 3. Great, really good. Now let's do this with the other objects. Here on this bottom one, polyframe, I will just hit crease PG and D. Let's put this maybe 4. Nice, really great. Now let's apply some colors. How do we apply How do we apply colors to our object? So we are making a blue crown, but you can make the red one if you want. Let's start from the top. The top one, let's hold Alt and click here. And then here on this side, you can see that you have this color palette. Let's move this little square by clicking and dragging. I will put something like in yellow, a little bit more to the orange. You can see the proper color here, and it will change in the object. Let's put something a little bit more yellow. Okay, I think this is a good color. Now here on the top, before this, make sure that here in these options you have RGB, okay? You want to apply RGB to your object. Now color, and here you have fill object. Then you click here, perfect. Now let's select these pins that we have done because they have the same color. So click, hold Alt, click here, color, fill object. Let's click on the other pins, color, fill object. Now let's click here on this one, and this one is blue. So let's put here the blue. I think this is a perfect blue. If you want red, you can just go here to the red. And the only thing I'm going to do, I will go to color and fill object. And that's it. You have made the Clash Royale crown inside Zbrush. Isn't this awesome? This is really cool. You have done everything. Congratulations, you did it. If you liked this tutorial, if you learned something with this tutorial, please make sure that you like this video, that you are subscribed to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will know any other future tutorials about ZBrush or any other software that I will bring here on my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a really great time, and I hope the knowledge that you learned here today going to be super useful for your personal projects. See you!